Welcome to the Carl Vibe Show and Podcast. We are live and available on all your podcast platforms, Spotify. Oh my gosh, I've got the background music going too because I've got YouTube playing. We're actually, we threw this live stream up really quick. So Chad and I are friends, actually. We've been hanging out. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff this weekend that we're going to be talking about as well at the Blind Frog Ranch Outpost. But Chad Ollinger is a great friend of mine. He is on the TV show right now, The Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. And if you haven't seen that, super fascinating. They have all kinds of interesting things going on, from UFOs to the paranormal to animal mutilations to something really strange buried in some kind of a sunken tomb or something underground. And the one man who swam down in that hole to get a look at it firsthand is Chad Ollinger himself. So we're going to bring him right aboard and talk about all this high strangeness going on at Blind Frog Ranch. So welcome aboard, Chad. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
What's up, Carl? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing really good. We've crossed paths a few times now. So like we were just up at Phenomenon hanging out. I got to do a tour of Blind Frog Ranch and actually ride in your Jeep and hold the meteorite right off the show that's sitting up there on the dashboard and everything.
Yeah. That's a real life meteorite. I just carry it around just because it's so cool. It's off planet and it's nice to have around.
It is way cool. There's something different about them, especially when you find it in your own backyard. So
right.
Let's talk about that, Chad. Is the Blind Frog Ranch is a recent and current name that has developed and been kind of dawned upon the area, but did you actually grow up there where you're at right now at Blind Frog Ranch? Or tell me kind of the story of how you fell into all of this, man.
Yeah, so I'm from Texas, around Amarillo area right north of there, called Dumas, Texas. But my dad bought the ranch about 10 years ago, and it's been a slow process for a while, and just digging here and there. But the last couple of years, we wanted to go up there and go more full time. And when we did that, Discovery got a hold of my dad and asked him to round up a crew, and they called me, and next thing you know, we're on TV. So it's all really surreal, but it's so fun though.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so you guys are actually out of Texas, but then no. So has this piece of land up there that's Blind Frog Ranch now, has that been something that's run in the family for a while, or is this something where your father has just worked up there and then you guys have moved up there, or how did you guys acquire this property and end up there?
So my dad bought it along with a couple other partners 10 years ago or so, and along the way bought out another partner and still has a partner in it right now. But that was about 10 years ago. But as far as living up here, it's definitely seasonal. So me and the family roll up in the summer, fall time, and then we just after when it starts getting cold, then we just go south, go to Mexico for a while, then we come back next season and do it all over again.
Gotcha.
And same with my dad. He's up here for the season and then goes back down south to Texas.
So when you were a kid, did you start traveling up to the area, or when did you first start going up there?
No, it was, just 10 years ago. 10 years ago is when he bought it. Yeah. So 2009, or well, I guess 11, 12 years ago now.
Go ahead.
No, fairly recent though. This is he had a construction business back then, and I used to work for him in construction for a little bit too, and then I got into aviation, and about 10 years ago is when he bought it.
Gotcha. So when did you guys start noticing that there was something odd about the place? Maybe did it kind of come with the packaging when you guys moved up there and started looking into it, that there was ancient things there and some mysteries and folklore, and then realizing that there was some truth to it when you started poking around? Or was it like sightings or UFO sightings or paranormal things sort of triggered that interest in order to start investigating? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing about it was the project was about the Lost Roads mine, this buried hidden treasure from the Spaniards or the Aztecs. That's why we were up there. And it started with my dad being up there. I was back in Texas still, and I'd come every now and again, but I wasn't there, boots on the ground every day. And they would go spurts of a couple weeks to a month and dig at certain places and have different scientists and satellite guys kind of showing them where to dig. But one night they were up there, and my dad did see nine craft and up close. So long story, but I remember him telling me this back when I used to work. I was back in Texas still, and I thought, God damn, it's hard to wrap my mind around. I trust my dad, but it's just like, you want to make sure he's thinking clearly, which, it's hard to accept that if you haven't seen it, which now I have, and I believe 100% all of that. So it was just a process of, I would still believe him, but I just want to see for myself.
That's fascinating. So he was up there and actually had a sighting where he saw, you said 9 craft?
Yeah. 9 UFOs. Yep. Crafts.
That's crazy. Now, how did, and I don't want you to have to tell his entire story or anything like that, but I mean, how did that happen from what, when he came back and was telling everybody? Was it, did they fly up out of the ground, like dimensionally, or come down from space? I haven't heard this whole story before.
Yeah, they came in over the mountains. It was that's kind of all I've heard about it. We don't know from where really, but they came in over the mountains where he could see them. The cloud veil that they usually have around them was gone because he says, outran it, and they were there. Then they formed a cloud when they were just sitting there. Sounds crazy, I know, and it was just hard for me to process too. But they stayed there for a while and then took off. He had a contact that told him that they were coming and what they were up to.
Yeah, that's super fascinating. So he had somebody that actually gave him a heads up and told him to go look at this particular time, and so he went and then these craft appeared and came up over the hill there, and he was at the ranch at the time. Was there anything unusual going on at the ranch that seemed connected with the event?
Yeah, so they drilled through a layer of this blue dirt, which is supposed to have this electrical charge from different places, and supposedly that's what all this energy came from. And my dad's contact, General Jeremiah, told him not to go back out there, and he went out there anyways, just to see what's going on. A lot of money invested in it, but went out there and then saw it. So it's interesting, and we know for sure that there's a layer of blue dirt out there. You'll see. So.
Yeah, I seen it when I got to go on the tour up there for Blind Frog Ranch, and that's something really quick I want to take a minute to mention and also hype up for everybody watching this. As you hear this show and watch it, Chad and I are actually going to be doing some paranormal investigating 2 nights from now at a strange, mysterious haunted hotel there in Vernal, not too far from Blind Frog Ranch, and we're doing it for a charity to help raise funds for local people that are in need and going through addiction recovery and different things like that. So it's all for a great cause. And if you click the link down in the description below on YouTube or go to my link tree, you'll see tickets, links there, so you can go to the Blind Frog Ranch tour like I've been able to do and see for yourself, to see the blue dirt and walk around firsthand where all of this has happened and everything that you're going to hear tonight, as well as be able to go to the haunted house if you're in the Vernal, Utah area a week from now and check it all out, or even come on Saturday to meet Chad and I at the Blind Frog Ranch outpost in person with the whole meet and greet to meet a bunch of people from the show. So if you don't believe Chad, you can come ask him yourself and pick our brains, especially after we go check it all out together. So yeah, I've seen the blue dirt. It is very interesting and strange. It's almost like feels like it has like a grit to it, almost like sand or like a fine aluminum powder, metallic sensation to it when you really gritty, like very interesting. So do you feel like that holds some kind of electrical or magnetic charge that the UFO are attracted to, or do you think it has to do with like shifting reality? Or I mean, it's all speculative. I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
I mean, that's a great idea. Good question. I have no idea. I mean, it still puzzles all of us. We have no idea, but there is some kind of connection between something down there. I mean, even our satellite guys are seeing they're seeing different elements connecting right there, and it's like it's spreading energy for some reason. That blue dirt is the conductor of it all. I don't know,
Yeah.
so much I don't know, but I keep an open mind with it all, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. So the blue dirt, is it just local to the hill up there and around, or have they said or found anything indicative? Like, does it have to do with an ancient meteorite impact, or is it still just a total mystery at this point?
It's a mystery, and it's not common in that area. It's not. No.
It's not common. Yeah, because it's even concentrated, it seems like up there on the ranch to the point where like there's some alchemy almost that goes on where you can, and I've talked about this on the show and other shows before about Blind Frog Ranch, that there is a strange energy spot up there, it seems like on the hill, where you can take dirt or sand from just about anywhere. And if you smelt it or superheat it and melt it down, what do you guys see there, Chad? What happens to the dirt?
Yeah, yeah. So you can take dirt that's been in that area for 12 hours, heat it up to 1800 degrees, something like that, for an hour and a half, and it turns into metal. Now, it's not as consistent as we know of other places, but it, what I think is we're not exactly on top of the energy field or wherever. We're having to still pinpoint where the direct energy is, but it's still close. We're still making metal. We have multiple times, so we're still trying to dial in everything to make sure, or just to boost the process. So it's like if we get right on it, who knows? You just don't know.
So does it seem like maybe you're kind of on the fringes, or it might even be deeper down, and so you'll do a test here and then move over here and move over there and kind of
That's right.
sample it to see where you get the most results. So are you going off of like how much yield comes out? So if you put like a full cup in, you try to get a half a
Yeah.
cup, and so
Yeah.
what comes out? So when you smelt the stuff or melt it down, what are they finding the dirt comes out that's so strange?
Well, it's just it kind of varies because we are not like exactly close to the energy field that we feel, but it varies. So it's a mix of different metals, and just because it's not a separate metal on the element charge doesn't mean it doesn't. It's not its own metal. I mean, it's not. It's hard to say, but it has different gold, silver, different things in it. But we don't know if it's its own type of metal. That who knows? Who knows what's possible? But
I see. So it seems to have like trace stuff. Now, is that what your dad, Dwayne, he wears on his neck, kind of like I have a necklace, but he has almost like a metal pyramid shape or like a
yeah,
triangle piece. Is that made of the same stuff?
yeah, yeah. That's what it is.
Oh,
It's basically alchemy right there. Yep.
that's cool. Is there a bunch of other experiments going on with it aside from smelting it, like electrical and magnetic conductivity or anything that you can talk about there?
We're still in the beginning processes of still finding the best energy, what creates the most metal, and then we've had people ask us, what's the what is it called? Uh, the weight, the atomic weight, and stuff like
Mm,
that. We haven't even got into that really. I mean, because that's not our project out there. That's not what our main focus is. It's just we kind of stumbled upon it, which now it's amazingly interesting, like the UFOs, like all the other stuff. But that was never the intent until we see it now. It's like, well, let's start looking into it. That's the mystery.
that is the mystery because it's not even just that. I mean, we could talk like an entire show just about the strange geology up there that you see. But not only that, I mean, you mentioned even like the Aztec treasure or ancient burial things. So that was the part that blew my mind and had me, standing up being like, what are you doing? Was when you have the balls to go swim down in that cave, that sunken hole that you guys drilled and actually found some kind of a weird box and everything. Now, you're one of the only people ever to swim down there and lay eyes on that. And a lot of people are super curious about what the heck you saw. So, first of all, describe the setting and how you guys discovered that there was something there. And then lead us up to that, like what that was like swimming in
Yeah.
that hole.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's a huge process. The TV just shows that much of it. So it's there's a lot of process that goes into that whole thing. But yeah, no doubt about it. When we finally got in, it was just baby steps along the way. We ended up finding that it's like it looked like a log cabin. We called it the box or whatever, but it was definitely some kind of barrier or something we couldn't get through. Which, I mean, season 2 will definitely cover a lot of that, which is really cool and fascinating. So interesting. But as far as the diving, yeah, it's dark, it's dangerous, it's scary, and
Yeah, you
it's
guys
fun.
you can't even go in with a regular like scuba kit, right? You have to use like a snuba. So there's like a motor, offboard motor, kind of like sitting on the side of the pond up there running, and
Yeah,
everybody has to monitor. And then your life is on the line the farther you swim in there. If that little gasoline motor gives out,
yeah.
you gotta swim for your life and get back out of there. So
So
how? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it's not the best setup. I know, and I've had people say, you're crazy, but whatever. But I mean, we were like, we got to get in. That's all there is to it. Which season 2, we changed some things up for sure, but a little more safe. But it's still gnarly. I mean, getting in there and getting back out, and there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. So how far from when you swim down in there, how far back in would you estimate before you run into this strange like wooden structure?
Ah, it's kind of hard to say. Uh,
'Cause it's not just
that
like a straight shot once you get through the
no,
initial pipe, right?
no. It's curves back and forth, no doubt. But as far as the distance, that's another season 2 thing, man.
Gotcha.
I don't want to spoil anything.
No, that's cool. Yeah, and anything that you're not allowed to talk about, everybody understands. They just go over on the Discovery Channel, look it up, and check it
Yeah,
out. The Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch is the show, and it's totally worth it. When I saw it, I rented the whole season 1 and got it, and checked it out. And I think I stayed up most of the first night and watched almost all of it, wondering what the heck was in that. So is it like a? I mean, I know that you probably can't even talk about this either, season 2. But I'm dying to know if it is some kind of like a box or if it is just a wall, like a doorway, and
right.
how it's like
Uh,
held together and stuff. It's very strange.
yeah, very strange. I agree. It's man-made. We know that for sure. That someone was barricading something, and we find different things of why and what in season 2, and it's still just the surface, man. So it's not like we found the whole thing, but we're getting closer. I mean, clues on clues on clues, and it's just the clues keep adding up to make us think that, I mean, we're getting closer.
And it's difficult too because the history of the location there and that whole region is layered and layered with it. Because it could be anything from like Mormon pioneers or clear back, like you said, to Aztec. Like
Yeah,
even down here, when you have over around the Grand Canyon, it's really interesting. I want to do a whole kind of mystery investigation of it, but I really think that the water levels were a lot higher, and maybe the ancient like Phoenicians and Egyptians and all of those ancient cultures may have traveled all over the place up channels and waterways that went way farther inland. Like imagine if those ancient civilizations could have made it all the way up the Colorado River to where Lake Powell is and further, and then
right.
migrated up. They totally could have hit
Yeah,
all
yeah,
kinds of
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
up the Wasatch Mountains and in the Uintah Basin, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There's no telling at all. But they were intelligent, man. That's what we think our cavern, it was intentionally flooded, to keep people out of it from just, you know, going in there and just walking out with it. So we think that it was flooded intentionally and that there's a plug somewhere along there to drain it. And
Yeah.
that's what everyone asks, why don't you just drain it? Well, first of all,
Where's
you
the
can't.
Where's the
It,
bottom?
huh?
Where's the bottom? Yeah. How do you pull
That's
the
right.
plug out?
And it's not stale water. I mean, it's a spring that continually fills in. So you'd be pumping and never get it out. Plus, we don't know the structural strength of the cave. If we were to pump it all out, is it going to collapse on us? I mean, we just don't know. So why mess with it? Yeah.
It blows your mind because it makes you think like if it was the ancient Aztec, they found that spring and flooded it underground on purpose to fill that up. And that is like indicative of ancient Aztec behavior
Yeah,
to use water traps and things,
right. Exactly. Yep.
So it
No
blows
doubt
my
about it.
mind. Like, so that your family's living up there on land that potentially was inhabited by like the ancient Aztec, and they could have buried stuff there, but maybe they picked that location for a reason because of this blue dirt or something that they were able to sense about the place that not only them, but maybe in the future or some alternate dimension or other worlds has drawn attention to the location too. So like you guys have weird energetic anomalies and you've got stuff buried under the ground, but there's also strange like paranormal things that seem to occur there around the area and animal mutilations. What are
Yeah.
some of the things you guys have run into there that's strange
Yeah.
like
I
that?
mean, that's so true. Like we've had people come out there, not on the crew or the cast or anything, or on the crew, not the cast, and we just want to say, hey, I don't believe any of this stuff that you're saying or whatever. I'm like, hey, I didn't say anything. It's believe what you want. I don't care. But like there was one night where we were, half a mile away from our base camp where everyone goes to like, have food and drinks. And I walked back over there, and there's a couple girls with shovels, like so scared, hiding in like the Tahoe or something like that, because they saw this orb go by. It was like this Indian spirit orb, and just freaking out. And I went over there, and they were the same girl was like, ah, and you could see on the clock she was pointing it to me, and it was pulsating like the timer, the clock time pulsating, and she's like, how do you deal with this? I mean, which I don't know what that was, or I believe there's orbs and spirits and things out there, but I don't think their intent is to harm us at all. I don't. I just don't believe that. Or if so, hell, we'd already be dead or messed up.
I
But
agree.
yeah, pretty weird.
It is weird. So you didn't see the orbit. You said you've seen stuff yourself up there and you've seen craft before?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, one of my favorite things to do is go camp out, get the night vision, and just sit there and watch. And I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. And you could see things zipping around all over the place and shining, boom, big bright lights, and it's cool. It's cool.
Like you'll see them actually flying above in the sky and then you'll see them take off and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, nothing up close like my dad saw, but I've seen plenty. And so I'm a pilot, and I know the difference between an airplane, a helicopter, and all
right.
this other stuff. So yeah, it's not of our technology. I know that.
Yeah, it's strange, and that's not uncommon in the area up there in the Uintah Basin. It seems like up there around the mesas, I have cousins and family and a bunch of stuff that live up there too, and they've all seen craft. They've seen like what have been described like the Tic Tac
Yeah,
fly over and seen it right from their back porch. Like there's something about that region or the area that
right.
makes it a little bit different or makes
Yeah.
reality strange or thin. I don't know. It's so weird. How do you explain like the animal mutilations and stuff like that? Or keep
Yeah, I don't know. That's all strange. This is so new to me, all this stuff. So I'm learning as I go, and I don't know what to expect, or I don't know. I'm not the expert on any of this stuff, but it's interesting. I will say that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they would or anything, but you can even talk to locals around here, and they're like the same thing. They'll tell you these crazy stories. Like they're so crazy that it's like I don't know. I have to believe you in a way, but
well, it's good that you're probably skeptical because you're right up there in the middle of it and right at the edge of where a lot of the strangeness like
yeah,
is going on and everything. So trying to, like you said, but you haven't experienced anything that negative from it. Almost wondered, like with the animal mutilations, I was talking to Kayla Bench from the Skinwalker Ranch. She's a friend of mine too. And I was joking around wondering, like, when you have a pet dog or cat, sometimes when they decide that they like you or you've moved into the area, they'll bring you like a dead mouse or an animal that's been
right. right?
mangled or almost gutted funny, and they'll, even if they played with it or ate part of it, they'll bring it and leave it by your shoes or by the front porch.
Oh yeah, like a
And
gift, right?
yeah, and we might freak out and go gross, and
Right,
yell
right.
at the dog and throw it in the trash. But from its
Yeah,
perspective, it's like a gift exchange of some kind, and we just,
gotcha.
our prejudice perceive it as something hostile or
Yeah,
something. You know what I mean? These
true, 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 true.
makes
Yep.
you wonder. But you're sensing up there that like nothing has been that bad, and the orb was also like almost a Native American
Yeah,
soul or something
yeah,
to it.
yeah, for sure. There's been multiple sightings of those too. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So orbs and stuff. So okay, so this is why you're not afraid to go swim down in the cave and face the mysteries, like, because it gets so applied so much to being like associated with a curse. Is there
Right.
any folklore or ancient curse
Oh
stuff
yeah.
associated up there?
Well, there's so many, and like even a lot of people, like their parents and grandparents have been looking for this treasure forever, and some of them have died just even looking for it in a cave, and they blame that on a curse, right? But that's not to say that the Spaniards or the Aztecs or whoever did booby trap everything with poison and stuff like that. Now, curse could be totally, but I mean it could be booby traps too. So it's hard to like point your finger on either one. But
Right.
I'm just so excited to see which one it is, though.
Yeah. Is there any plans on the show? Season one was really focused on building, informing the public and everybody about what's going on there and informing the locations of the ranch, kind of showcasing what you guys are doing up there. But a lot of it is focused on that strange, like possible Aztec box underground or whatever
Yeah.
that is, and the geology of the strangeness of that place. Has there been any more research or anything into maybe the spiritual stuff or meditation? I actually asked your dad this question at Phenomicon. I don't know if you remember,
Yeah.
but is there any plans to do more like meditations or bring in different shamans to try and see if you can communicate with an entity or anything that might be dwelling there?
Absolutely. We've had numerous shamans come out, psychics. Let's see who else. Uh, what do you call it? What you were doing with the handcuffs the other day? Remote viewing. Had
Oh
those come
yeah,
out.
the remote viewing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Numerous people, and it's always very interesting. It really is. But yeah, it would be cool to have a big. Yeah, a lot of people come out, but it's yeah. We focus on that, but it's not like our main focus, right? But it's always very interesting. But to have people come out like that, it's really cool.
Is there
And they always see
anything?
stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. Is you
What have
just
they seen? That's what I was going to ask you. Is there anything that you can tell us that came from that kind of
well,
research?
mainly it was Native Americans. Yeah. So the story is the Spaniards or Aztecs came up, and the Native Americans were the slaves for a while, and so they had to help process the gold or store it, or we don't know if they're bringing it in or taking it out. But finally, the Native Americans rebelled, killed all the Aztecs or whoever, buried them with the gold because they thought it was evil of how they treated them, how they would make them do all this bad things. So they thought it was because of the gold, which could be. And after that, the Indians buried it from everyone. And then there was talk that Caleb Rhodes came along and made a deal with, or actually Thomas Rhodes and Caleb Rhodes. This is what helped start the Mormon Church. And this is all hearsay. So, but a lot of people talk about it, man. It's.
Yeah, there is like some of the Mormon stuff up there too. You guys have even found like Mormon pioneer coins and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, we have.
So what is the connection there? Just from when the pioneers moved through, or was there some interesting shady stuff that went on there?
Yeah, I mean, it seems shady. From what I can tell, it looked like a fake coin from a long time ago, just gold plated. We've heard that, you know, you had to exchange your coins, exchange your gold to have their currency. Now, that's not to say that it was a Mormon church. It could have been some like outlaw out there gold plating the same coins and handing those out, making a ton of money, right? But
Gotcha.
we don't know.
So the idea was that they would exchange, say, if you're gonna trade with us, you have to use our currency, and so
Right.
trade in cost for cost. So they would trade in the full value of gold for something sort of fakey.
Yeah, exactly. That says pure gold
Oh,
on it. It does.
right. Okay. So there's been some of this found up there on the ranch
Yeah.
alongside some of the ancient, more primitive things. So there's been a lot of interesting potential dark deals that have gone on throughout time in that whole area,
Right.
all up there. That's so fascinating. So that's what blows my mind about it is that you have this like Native American presence like in the folklore, and not only that, but almost witnessed by people there, like sensed
Right.
by the people there and the paranormal activity of the ranch.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you look up and there's UFOs.
Right.
So, I mean, is this like to me, when you see that, Chad, that's like you're looking at a window, a dimensional window of the past and maybe something of the future. We're talking about time,
Yeah.
something to do with like a time warp or.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting, man. It's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. Because it could be future and past. Because we know the past stuff is there. Like we have these little European beads from the 1600s that we find a lot of that the Indians had possession of. So the past is there, and then the future, who knows? You know, it could be UFO. There's been talk of like a UFO buried down there, and that's where the energy comes from. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, we haven't seen a UFO. We haven't drilled down that far, so it's just we
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know how you would. That's the thing. People that might be like critics of the Blind Frog Ranch show or question it, things like why don't you just drain out the tunnel
Yeah,
system? I mean, once you're there, I highly recommend if you're ever in the area just exploring to stop into the outpost and go on the tour and take the time. Because once you get up there, I couldn't hardly fathom it. I was like, where would you even begin? Like, let's say if you and I went out there like on Sunday and decided let's hike around and look for the plug to
right.
drain the thing. I mean, you could just stay in a quarter acre area there, and the amount of like lava forms and strange cracks and crevices
Yeah,
and tunnel looking
yeah, yeah,
areas.
exactly.
It's
Ah,
crazy. It's crazy up there,
yeah,
man. I mean, and the weird stuff that it almost geologically plays tricks on you. Like you look up and there's like a weird formation, and you're like, that looks like a freaking face looking back at me,
yeah,
or this looks. It's strange. I couldn't stop. I almost annoyed the people in the Jeep because I couldn't stop talking about how look at this and look how weird that is and look how weird this is. And I live down
yeah,
here by Zion's National Park, but it's weird up there, man.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many different like turtles. I mean, turtles lead to treasure. We got 5 on our property, and then there's these big markers that are directly east. That was their compass. You could tell all this stuff. Those and these rocks are 2,000 pounds or something. It's you just don't know how even they picked them up and they stacked them, but they're exactly a triangle. They're markers, and it's yeah. I know there's plenty of people that are like it's pure bull, but it's hey, you know
Yeah, you could just chase the treasure hunting markers and rock formations and spend a lifetime
yeah.
running around up there, not to mention just the weird alchemy going on in the energy spot. I
Yeah,
mean, there's a
exactly.
whole life's work just to figure out one spot, let alone that whole area of the mountain and the
Yeah.
region. And then you've got the sky overhead and stuff flying over. Uh, it's super weird. Which aspect of it do you feel like you're most drawn to or interested in? Is it the active paranormal stuff, the UFOs, or do you want to get back in that hole in the ground? Which part of this is the best part for you?
Yeah, I mean, the intent of coming up here was to help my dad find the treasure. Yeah, but seeing what I've seen now, it's like there's so much out there that we have no idea about that we haven't been told about. That is there. I mean, this is real. I mean, stuff flying around like, and that's so fascinating to me. Like being a pilot, I'm like, to be able to have that capability of zipping around light speeds and all that. Yeah, yeah. Super fascinated with that. And yeah, treasure'd be cool, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, the technology and that advancement would be
Yes. That's what I'm
crazy.
talking about.
Yeah. if that could be applied. So maybe you guys are sitting on something there with the energy of that place
Right.
that's unique, because that's really interesting when you think about it, because we live in a world that runs off of like drilling for oil and
Yeah.
mining for rocks. And
Yep.
what if suddenly the energy game isn't energy from the geology, but actual energy,
Right.
and we're starting to realize that there's places like this idea of ley lines
Yeah.
or energetic points where they build like Stonehenge and the pyramids, and maybe there's more to that with other energy dimensions we haven't really grasped yet, and you
Oh
guys are
yeah.
sitting on one up there.
What it takes to run a UFO is like the anti-gravity. I mean, just this little, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but could you imagine if we had that right now? It ran all our cars, all our buses, all of our houses. I mean, that'd be great. And to think that they might have it right now and not telling us, that's not good, man. That's not good at all. So we need to know the truth, no doubt.
I agree. It seems like your dad's friend was involved in stuff where he kind of had a know-how, or he had a knowing where he knew that these things were going to show up. Do you
Yeah.
think that's kind of a clue that maybe that those craft were government craft, and it was part of a program interacting with your dad to kind of inspire him in some way or help him out
Yeah.
as a friend? Or do you think it was extraterrestrial or something?
Well, so it's General Jeremiah. He was CIA and he got drafted to the Galactic Federation of Hendon, which, even like, it was funny. We heard somewhere, we've told this story over and over and over, and everyone's like, ah, yeah, yeah, whatever. But even though, like, Israel, I forget, prime minister or something, a high up guy was like, yeah, yeah, we've dealt with the Galactic Federation. More people are talking about this Galactic Federation, Galactic Federation. Look it up. I mean, that's our contact. That's who we had contact with. And I got to talk to him on the phone. Super legit, intelligent man that had no reason to lie about this. I mean, it's not like we were paying him. There's no benefit whatsoever. Even his family didn't believe him. But even at his deathbed, he still, he was like, yeah, it's all real. Spread this message. And whatever he said came true. I mean,
Really?
it was real.
And he was just like happened to be like a friend of your dad's, or did they meet through your dad's work somehow?
Yeah.
Or
Nikoloff, Don Nikoloff had a radio station, and I think my dad would listen to it, or he met up with my dad. And one day, General Jeremiah got onto the radio and somehow connected with my dad. Don Nikoloff was like the middle guy. Don Nikoloff passed away. Then my dad, General Jeremiah, would talk a lot, and he even called me. We'd all get to know different things about dimensions, space, air, UFOs, all this stuff that no one believed, but it all came true. He was the one that said, "You got to dig right here." That's when we found the blue dirt and the spacecraft come in.
hmm.
So cool guy.
That's weird. Do you
Yeah.
think so? Here's far out. Do you think that General Jeremiah could have been like a plant from the future? Like, imagine if you, like Marty McFly from Back to the Future, if you know, like, okay, we know that up in the hills here, 500 years from now is a massive mining operation and deposit for this blue dirt that is going to be critical for the manufacturing and the flying and anti-gravity properties of our future space program, or something like that.
Yeah.
That does exist, but time is technically, because of time travel existing now, because of this technology, time sort of unfolds on itself, all becomes at once. So you have General Jeremiah coming back before the mining operation and ensuring their investment goes right through your dad's hands in the past, and adjusting things kind of through a time loop or something. I don't
Makes
know.
sense. Yeah, yeah. Got some like Mandela effect, time warp, time change. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's no telling, man. That's a good point, and I haven't heard that one, but yeah, hell, who knows, man? There's so much we don't know that we think we know everything out there because of what we're told or what they tell us. It's like, oh no, man, there's so much more, right?
Yeah. So here's an interesting question from the comments section. Vanessa asked, have you slept on the land? And with sleeping on the land, has that caused any interesting dreams? And I'll add to that, have you noticed any interesting dreams as far as like shared dreams or like out of body astral projection stuff or anything like that?
Yeah, so I actually slept out there 2 nights ago, just because I try to, like, a couple times a month, but it's the family's back in town now. It's just kind of easier up there, but yeah, they're astral projection. Yeah, yep. And I don't know if it's easier out there, but I usually hit up some shrooms out there, and it's great. So
Yeah. So yeah, that's amazing. You would think, see, that's another one of the theories about it. If there is something to the geology of that, whether in the future they use it for technology, it could give off a type of radiation that
yeah,
affects our biology or our makeup. Ultimately, when you think about it, like how you hear inside your ears and balance is all due to liquid minerals and crystals being balanced in there and fluid crystals moving around, and everything that works in your body has to do with little sensors and stuff. So who knows, if you were taking a nap up there in an interesting spot and the earth was in the right rotation, or a storm was blowing over and that energy built up in the earth, it could totally like amplify your consciousness or your
yeah.
perception. And
That's funny you say that about being in someone else's dreams, which I've never known about any of this. It's everything, even astral projection. I didn't know anything about astral projection until I did. I'm like, what just happened? Like, that was not a dream. I like have this like shaking before you go somewhere, and you were gone. But when you said about the someone else's dream, I've had a dream like exact because I know them really well, and I had a dream of what they would have been doing and how they reacted, and it was really trippy. So I've never heard that either. So we're gonna have to talk a lot more to get some of this
yeah,
insight.
definitely. I think it has to do with the consciousness and the connection, because there's something going on there where uh, it interfaces with your mind and perceptions. And if you went and slept in that environment, it could like the
Charge you up
resident
for something, right?
charge you up, or the resonance sort of detach you. Because see, I've done I don't know if you're familiar with the Gateway program from the Monroe Institute, but they are like a program that was developed by Bob Monroe that
Yes,
ended
I
up.
just recently looked into that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were a whole institute that he came up with, and then the Stanford Research Institute that did remote viewing, they came over looking for the ability to amplify their results, in the counterterrorism game. So
Right.
they ended up at the Monroe Institute, where they'd put these headsets on and listen to sound waves that would tune their brain and the environment, and they would literally talk about like popping out of their body and traveling around
Yeah.
like a ghost.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Unreal. I've had some of the craziest experience in my life with astral projection. At first, it started like 4 years ago, but I had no idea what I was doing. I would always meditate, and all of a sudden, I get in such a deep meditation that it's like a train comes through your doorway. And at first, I mean, it can scare the shit out of you, but and then you come out of it. But if you can just keep relaxed, it's pretty amazing.
did you feel like in the beginning, if you look back before the train coming right through the room, did you feel like, wow, there's like an earthquake, or almost like there's a tunnel system deep underneath the ground, or
Yeah.
like I get that almost every night, Chad. It's so
No
bad.
way.
Even as a kid growing up, but now like I'll lay there uh, in bed, and right as I'm starting to fall asleep, and there was a while where I thought it was because I lived like near Area 51. I
Oh
was like,
wow. Yeah.
I wonder if there's like a train tunnel underground.
Right.
But now I know it is that. It's like your consciousness is like your body's like an antenna, and your consciousness or your soul is the signal, And
Yeah.
when that signal energetically detaches and decides to go somewhere else,
Yeah.
that feeling is like an earthquake or a huge vibration.
Yeah. 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 It's like a vibration. It's like someone's shaking my skull. It's so fast of a rate, like a jet engine, just wow, whoosh, and you're gone,
Yeah.
man.
And sometimes like a loud bang or like a pop, like you'll hear an explosion, but it feels like it's inside of you somehow. Like I've
Wow.
had that.
I
And
have experienced that one. It's just usually a vibration, and it's like,
yeah.
but that's the thing is if I stay calm enough to get through that, it's so incredible, man.
Yeah. Have you
Which
had
it's like the DMT trip. Whenever you smoke that, it's instant. But this is more natural, and it takes it's a build up of you raising your frequency, and all of a sudden, okay, you're ready to go to whatever different dimension or whatever.
right. So it makes you wonder 4 years ago you started experiencing some of that and I wonder if that area does have effects there that naturally geologically, and then you wonder like that's why in ancient times the shaman would have been drawn to these places and gone up the
Gotcha.
mountain and sat there, because they would have been in these altered states of mind a lot, or
Right.
been drinking the tea and or
Yeah.
doing the ceremonies and been drawn to those energetic points and done the
Right.
petroglyphs and depicted what they saw, these beings or the gods in the
Yeah.
sky, and now you guys here, we fast forward, and now Chad Ollinger's camping out up there and with a TV show.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
wild, man.
mine started back. I think they started in Colorado, so it wasn't necessarily the ranch that caused it. I think it was, self work, but now it's getting easier and easier. So yeah, yeah, it has to do something with nature, the energy field, or I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, it's wild.
Have you tried any kind of like the CE5 type stuff? I don't know if you're aware of what that is, like
Yeah,
the reverse remote viewing method where you let the entities or the UFOs or whatever know exactly where you're at. And have you had any results from that?
I've a guy came out one time and was doing some of it, and I saw what's his name? Yeah, Doctor.
Greer?
Yeah, Dr. Greer, very intelligent man. Loved his documentary that he just did. But I haven't actually been out there and done it. I mean, the service is real shoddy, so it's like it's gonna be harder. But yeah, you should come out. We should try that for sure, though.
Oh, dude, I'd totally be game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've approached it from a lot of different angles, from like the Tibetan method, the Kala chakra.
yeah,
I do a lot of different stuff, Dzogchen and all that. But yeah, even using crystals and different things is really fascinating.
right.
Ultimately, you're right though; they're all just like implements or additions to the mind, or to the
Sure.
conscious
Yeah,
connection.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, same with the geography or the geology of the location, but it makes you wonder, if thousands of years of shamanistic activity and
Yeah.
trauma in a region, plus the geology, could amplify all of that, and
Yeah.
it's fascinating, you guys. So we're gonna be there. I'm gonna be driving up actually tomorrow and get there tomorrow night, checking in the hotel, and then got a radio spot that we're doing to promote the haunted house going on the ticket sales for that. And then we're doing the haunted investigation in the location, and maybe we'll try a little bit of it in there together in a couple nights, and then go up to the ranch. So we'll use that as a little guinea pig, the haunted
Yeah.
hotel, right?
I'm excited, man. That's the thing is I haven't really seen a whole lot of spirits or whatever, but I'm excited different techniques to be able to see it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. I have the open mind. I'm not scared of it. So it's like, let's do this, man.
Me too. I'm not afraid of it. I'm kind of like an explorer of it. I feel like it's all connected,
Yeah,
in some way. And whether you're seeing a shadow figure or a light being just depends on whether you're staring at your own ass or looking at the light.
sure. Yeah,
Really.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Turn around if you're seeing the shadow figure. Sit down with them and work it out.
That's it, man. That's it. And I feel like our traumas reflect on us too. You have to face them one way or another. And I know
Yeah.
with like all the psychedelics, you can see a beautiful picture or you can see hell for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, you get caught in that, and maybe maybe that's the same with like the soul ultimately, because maybe the psychedelics are kind of a window into that for a test of like dying without dying in a
Yeah.
way
Oh,
where
I agree 100%. Yep.
yeah.
It's a cleansing process. You know, we hold on to so many things that we think we need to control or whatever. When you finally let go of all that pressure and all that bad control, oh, it's great, you know.
Yeah, it just goes back into that raw becoming one with
Yeah.
nature and
Yep.
having to surrender to
Yeah.
that. And the reality is that it all goes on and functions whether you're hanging on to the wheel or not. Really, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, we take ourselves and everything's so important, right? But it's like, hey, you know, it's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. If you look at our little Earth from another planet, you're like, this little guy is so worried about this or that. It's like, it's gonna be all right, you know.
I know, yeah, we really don't have any idea in the long run. And even what we assume is like such a bad thing, if you could fast forward long enough, eventually you'd be like, oh, nothing was out of place.
Yeah,
You know, everything happened exactly like it was supposed to. I just couldn't see where I was in the wave, you know?
yeah. That's exactly like when I was a childhood going through like really intense moments at that time. It's like I wouldn't want to change that because it develops who you are, and you have to learn from that situation to
Right.
get to this place where we're at right now. So it's yeah, but it's trial and error. We just learn as we go, I guess, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what we're doing with all this work in our different ways from different approaches. Even like what you're doing with the show up there, it's bringing modern television and the internet and podcasting and everything, and colliding it with ancient Aztec spiritual mysticism and
Yeah,
future science fiction, and all that literally gets swirled up into one thing, and then you have to deal with it, and it's all happening like in this one place with a group of people who are all experiencing the same phenomenon, and then you realize looking out that as everybody watches the show that you guys up there are not alone, that there's a lot of people experiencing similar things, and it's time to start talking about it and facing it. Do you agree with
yeah,
that, Jeff?
I agree, man. That's spot on, brother. I like it. Yep, I agree.
And you guys are doing a bunch of studying that people can actually go into the Blind Frog Ranch outpost and check out up there.
Yeah,
There's like community testing and like
yeah,
biosensors in the community and people's homes to uh, test that you guys are not messing around. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what you guys are doing with that?
yeah. So now we have different scientific equipment that show different frequencies and different. I forget exactly how he put it. It just tests everything and it tracks everything. So if there is, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, like if there's like a bump in activity, it seemed like
Yeah,
the way they were
exactly.
describing it, like if there's even in the basin, you've got different people living in their own homes,
Right.
but you might have 3 or 4 different sensors spread out and suddenly go up.
Yeah, and
And then
they
what
both go off together, different places. We have a TV screen that shows what has happened and the ratings and the readings and all the scientific data. And this is it's just science. I mean, these are actually it's equipment out there that are measuring all these frequencies. So it's science.
yeah, that's what blew my mind is that like you guys can see on the sensors that the data starts to uptick, and then about like 10 or 15 minutes later sometimes everybody's getting the community's getting on the app or getting on the website and logging in like they either saw a UFO
Yeah,
or some kind of a poltergeist or Bigfoot or who knows what, some
who knows?
anomaly, but there's usually 2 or 3 people in the area that have the sensors that will check in. And
Yeah,
sure enough, the data, when you go back and look, before that, you see the energy in the region go woo and raise up like
yeah,
something with the earth or the geology or something getting ready to happen is
that's
amping the
right.
energy up, and then it happens like
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, we also have people coming by that have these testimonies of UFOs, and it's a community thing. People are sharing things now. We have this shop that's open and open to accepting whatever you got. You know, let's hear it. We're here to like spread this message and hear what's been going on because we know there's weird stuff out there, strange stuff, and people are like, it's like a weight lifted off that they finally get to tell someone that's going to believe them, not call them an idiot, you know? So it's good.
Yeah. And I think you guys are doing an amazing job because, you know,
Thank you, brother.
everybody watches the show up there, and it's the production crew's doing an amazing job putting it all together and telling the
Yeah,
story, treating it, you know, seriously and valid, but also keeping it fun, you know, and
right.
fascinating. But at the core of it, like anybody that comes up there and goes on the tour, goes into the outpost or meets you guys is going to realize real quick that it's the real deal. You guys are serious about this. The science is real. The people are real. You
Yeah,
know, it's not a joke. You'll pull
yeah.
up in
I
the
mean, this
Jeep
is
with the meteorite. It's not a fake, you know.
yeah, yeah. This is a real project. So we're you know, you have the TV involved in it, which you know changes the things as far as like it's a longer process doing this stuff, but as far as like the science, the people coming in, the project, the legend, the spottings of all this stuff, yes, real. So
It's
believe
all
what you want,
valid.
though.
Yeah. Well, Chad, we've jumped on kind of tonight to hype up our event this weekend, the
Yeah,
haunted Halloween tour and everything. You guys check out the link down below. Go get your tickets if you're in the Vernal area in the Uintah Basin, and come say hi to Chad and I. Get your picture taken with us, hang out, get some souvenirs, and get a tour and go see for yourself, because the Blind Frog Ranch is fascinating. There's real stuff going on there, and you can go see for yourself. They're not hiding anything outside of the show. If you want more, you can go there and check it out firsthand in person. And I've done it. I'm going to do it again this weekend, and I cannot wait to hang out with you, Chad. It's going to be
cool,
really
brother.
fun, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you, bro. This is gonna be exciting.
It's been fun chatting with you tonight, and
Yeah.
everybody over in the comment section that was hanging out with us. Really appreciate you guys' support and everything. And we will see you guys in the next one.
See ya.